Hey everybody, it's Shadowstar and Crystal here for Season 2, Episode 2, Identity of Arrow.
Just in case it wasn't clear.
Okay, so moving on to this episode, it wasn't as exciting as last episode, but it was still a good episode in my mind, especially the cliffhanger, but that's more me getting excited for what's coming up next episode. But one quick thing to note, this episode does finally have a new intro. Most seasons will start to get their own intro now.
Yeah, he has to mention that it's to honor Tommy, and he said he was on the island in the first one. He was on the island to survive. Here he's saying he's in the present with one goal, to save his city.
Well, someone remembers that thing off by heart.
In Italian, too.
Well, we'll worry about that later. Well, moving on to the episode itself, let's talk about... Well, this episode has a few plots, but we'll start with a more interesting plot, and that's Roy's plot.
I didn't care for it that much, although...
At the start, I didn't care for it because it was just boring drama, although there were two good things. One, it brings up the Hosen, which comes up later on in the episode, so it's a good way to keep it fresh in your mind.
Yeah, you see it in the present because then it is in the flashback. And
then later at the end of the episode, Roy kind of joins up with the Arrow.
I hate that he acts like he's he needs to be honest with Thea, basically, and when he gives her the Hosen and stuff, it just sort of parallels that moment when Lance gave the phone back to Laurel, because on the outside, he's saying, yeah, you can have it back, I trust you. But on the inside, he was just using it to catch him. And with Roy, he's telling Thea, okay, I'll stop trying to be a vigilante, I'll stop trying to help the Arrow, when he's doing exactly the opposite. He's just joined up.
I suppose it's because he's kind of found a middle ground, though, because if he's honouring what he said to the Arrow, then he's not going to go out fighting, he's just going to help the Arrow by giving information.
True, but still, he's not being honest with Thea.
Yeah, but I do like that. I do like that this sets up the Roy plot, which I don't know when it kicks in, but like I said, it's small little bits here and there, but they really do build up to really good stuff, and Season 2's amazing. I'll keep saying it till I die, but man, I love what's coming up in these next few episodes.
Yeah,
but
it's been pretty good so far.
Sticking to this episode, it wasn't at least... Okay, I'm half and half. On one hand, at least we didn't have a boring villain of the week. We got to see China White, or as she's now known as Chen Wei, which is her actual name. They decided to go with that from now on.
Yeah, and one thing...
And the other point is, I might be wrong, but I believe her person helping her, the guy with the claws, actually is somebody who we'll see again, I think.
Okay.
Or there's another guy with claws.
Yeah, but something,
But we also never find out why she's bothering to steal these trucks. That's the one thing I didn't like. It's like, there was never an explanation.
Yeah. But yeah, one thing back with the Malcolm plot, something I would yell at the screen sometimes was that, because we know the future, I would yell that he should have just killed Malcolm when he had the chance, when Tommy gave Malcolm blood and stuff. I was like, you could have just let him die and it would have saved a lot of trouble in the future. And I was saying the same thing when it came to China White, that I know he doesn't want to kill anymore, but if he had made an exception and killed her, it would have saved us a lot of trouble. The problem is, he doesn't know what we know. He doesn't know which people are going to end up being the ones that he should have gotten rid of.
Well, also, we'll find out that she's already done a heck of a lot of damage. But we'll get to that next season. But sticking on to this season... Remember how last review I was saying, oh, good, Laurel, she's not bad. I take back everything I said. We're back to Laurel drama.
I hate that she's mad at him just because he didn't save Tommy. Like, is he supposed to apologize for not being a doctor? He's not a doctor. He's not a miracle worker. Why are you mad at him because he didn't magically save Tommy's life? There was nothing he could do.
The good thing is she does get called out on it eventually, but for now, oh god, I hate Laurel in this episode.
I get it. You trusted him.
Let me rephrase that. I hate Laurel, and you know it. For again, to all the people who's like, Laurel's such a great character. No, it's not. She's not, and you know it. Just quit living in denial.
Yeah, especially not yet.
She was just drama last season. Now she's, I hate Oliver because, I hate the Arrow because I'm a moody little idiot. And then later she'll become an alcoholic. Just, let me know when Laurel gets good because she doesn't.
I know. Because in season 1, she blindly trusted him so much so that when she saw him run into the building, she was like, oh, okay, Tommy will be fine. Like, no, he's not a magic healer. He tried. There was nothing he could do.
I do like that this episode does more parallels with the flashback than I was thinking of, because if you think about it, a lot of this episode, Oliver does dwell on the fact that he shouldn't be killing, whereas the flashbacks is him dwelling on the fact that he started killing.
Yes. Getting to the flashbacks, it starts off with
where we left last time.
Yeah, and I didn't like that they repeated it, but they once again used the metaphor of blood on his hands. But it's okay. I just didn't like that they've already used that when Moira...
If I had to pick, I would have rather they kept it here and not done it with Moira.
Yeah, but I get that they were trying to show that Moira felt guilty because that guy died because she tried to get out, but anyway.
Yeah, but since we're talking about the flashbacks, we've got that, but we also have the scene where Oliver and Shadow are once again together. But
before that, after he had the blood on his hands, Slade was talking to Shadow, and I liked that he was saying that Oliver is starting to split in two, sort of, and he's starting to become somebody he doesn't recognize, which references the title, Identity, and also references how now he is split in two.
You know, I've got to say, that seems to be your game. You're a lot better at picking out the titles. So half the time I forget the title exists unless it's a really obvious one. Whereas,
it's so easy!
I'm not saying it's hard, but it's
fun.
That you just enjoy picking up on the themes a lot better than I do, I guess.
Well, you know, in high school, they kind of drill that into you and say, look for the themes.
I guess, but... Yeah, well, I suppose that's your thing for these reviews then, is picking out the titles.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, the Arrow titles seem to be out of all the shows that we watch in DC, Arrow seems to be the one that has the most ambiguous. Sometimes they're blatantly obvious titles like the next one, but sometimes they're just kind of themes like identity or sacrifice.
Yeah, I didn't mind it though.
Yeah, but...
And then there's that scene with Shadow where, similarly, she talks about the yin and yang and, the opposing forces, which, a killer and a hero, that's the opposing forces inside him.
Yeah.
She says that, the island hasn't changed him and he questions, so you think I've always been a killer? And
yeah, I do. This reminds me how much I do love Shadow as a character.
Although her quote about the opposing forces just reminds me of a line in Harry Potter when Harry says, what if I'm going bad?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Sirius says, we all have good and bad inside us. It's we choose to act on.
Every show or whatever has used something of that effect anyway. But, yeah, that's basically the thing with Oliver. And then I suppose the flashback ends with them finding another cave, which is where Oliver discovers the Hosen. Like I said, the Hosen would come in handy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're going to slowly start to kick into some of the plot that goes into the flashback this season. But we'll get to it.
Yeah, so getting to the so-called main plot of the episode with Sebastian Blood, we got to see more of him, and I just hated how the public is constantly blaming Oliver for what his mother did. And
I can actually understand it, even if it's illogical. When people are angry and people are suffering, they have to throw their hatred at something. You can't throw hatred at a dead body.
Moira's not dead. You can still hate her.
Yeah, but
Oliver didn't do anything.
Yeah, but they don't know that. They don't know how connected they are or aren't. And to be fair, Oliver does try to set it straight. Unfortunately, and this is a theme that will happen throughout these shows, is Oliver has to sacrifice his real reputation to do the greater good. I do like the parallel of Sebastian giving the speech of how Oliver's failed while showing us he's off to be the Arrow.
Yeah, they're like, he's not helping. Meanwhile, he's stopping the thieves.
It reminds me of a certain other scene in The Flash, but we'll get to that from a long time from now.
Yeah, I just hate how...
A nice little bit about that fight scene at the end is Diggle there, because through season 1, it was very rare that Diggle went on a mission. He was supposed to be on the team, but he barely does anything, so I'm glad he's finally doing things.
Yeah, but the bit I hated about the public was they can't decide what they want from him. At one point, they're like, go back to your mansion, rich boy, and so it's like, okay, I'll go to my mansion and not help, but then they're like...
That's just you being sarcastic,
why aren't
though.
you helping?
Okay, that's just you being sarcastic. You can learn to take sarcasm in a metaphor.
Yeah, I know, but, like, they can't decide. They're like, go away, we don't want anything to do with you. And then they're like, well, you should be helping, you're more fortunate.
No, because at first the normal people are just angry and pissed off and rioting, but then Oliver publicly says he will help and then doesn't show up. That's when they're...
No, even before he publicly says he will help, one of the reporters was like, what are your plans for helping the Glades or whatever?
That's a difference. A reporter is going to ask a real question. An angry person in a mob isn't thinking straight. The reporter didn't lose anything. They're probably a reporter who lives a normal life.
True.
You're mixing up reporters with rioters.
Yeah, fair. That's fair.
Yeah. But... what else? There wasn't much else. I mean, we do get the confirmation that Diggle and Carly are no longer together. It just happened off screen, and I don't think we ever really see Carly ever again.
Yeah.
I knew... That's why I forgot it happened. I knew it happened at some point, but I couldn't remember when, because it happens off screen.
Yeah, and I hate that he had to make that sacrifice, but,
yeah, although at the same time it does foreshadow stuff coming up, because like we said, it does remind us of the Deadshot stuff is still going on. It's like a really long arc.
Yeah. But one thing I hate about this episode is how stupid the police are, always choosing the wrong target. Like, for one thing, they're so obsessed with the vigilante that, they take Roy just because he was trying to take down the bad guys, and they let the bad guys get away.
They had Roy. Well, the thing is, they couldn't chase down the bad guys. They were already out of their way anyway, but they've got Roy. To be fair, Roy did commit a crime of obstruction of justice and stealing a car and crashing a car.
He stole that ages ago.
Yes, so now he's stolen property and he's damaged property. And he's under for obstruction of justice.
Granted, yes, he gets away with a lot that he should be.
He's committed so many crimes. Is nobody going to point out the fact that car isn't his?
Theo pointed it out, and he even admitted it back in the finale.
Yeah, but that time, in the finale, I thought it was just, he stole a car, because everyone's going crazy, he stole a car to get out of it. Because I thought, okay, that's fine, that makes sense.
I don't know if it's the same car, but he's still using a stolen car in this one.
Yeah, it doesn't. But like I said, this episode had some good points. I enjoy seeing recurring villains, even if they didn't tell us why she's doing any of this. The flashback stuff, honestly, I say the flashback is my favourite part of the episode. I'm not saying it's amazing, but it's the only part I can't think of much bad about. There was a lot of drama. On this light side, we got comedic drama with Felicity, because that was more just for fun than actual drama.
Yes. Felicity is always amazing.
We'll get to the time where she isn't.
Always.
Season 4!
Always.
But, yeah, there was so much drama, it just reminds me why I hate Laurel. And speaking of hating Laurel, the episode ends on the cliffhanger of the police supposedly cornering him.
Yeah, he knows that she is hunting him. So why is he so stupid to just go in there?
Yeah, it makes me hate Laurel, but it does make me excited for the next episode. But that's because I know what's coming. Do you know what's coming?
Not really. Actually, looking at the title, I think I have a vague idea.
Well, we'll have to see about that. So, yeah, this episode was not as good as last time, but still not an awful episode.
It has its dumb moments, but it's pretty good anyway.
I haven't given a low rating in so long, but I'm only gonna give it a 6.5.
Yeah, I was gonna go 6.5 or maybe 7. I'll stick with 6.5.
Yeah, so it's 6.5 for the good flashbacks, a recurring villain. There was quite a few good moments, but there was a lot of drama with the police and Laurel. And, oh, God, I hate Laurel. Speaking of Laurel, don't worry, she's a centerpiece of next episode, so... Next time... What's the next episode's name?
Broken Dolls.
I know what the next episode is, do you?
Yeah, I remember this villain.
Well, yeah, it's a really weird one, but we'll worry about that next time. We both said this was 6.5. Next time, it's episode 3, Broken Dolls. If you enjoyed our review, like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. And we'll see you next time.